Hi guys. Okay, this video is going to be more of a video that ties back into what my last video was about like our spiritual gifts and why we were called. We're like to bring others to Christ, which is like kind of like the main point. Like, oh, like, you know, we're called to be like also a part and partake in the body, like partaking in like edifying and helping those, you know, who are also a part of us, followers of Jesus. One verse that's helping me to just now, like I just read it. I think I read it this morning. One verse that's helping me to like recognize that discern whether or not I'm excelling for myself or like going higher for other people. Like if you have a hard time like discerning whether or not you should do this or that, think about whether or not and pray about whether or not it is from God for you also therefore to help other people in that way. I know lately there's been things like I wanted to do or I wanted to put out there because like I found it like fun, and I found like myself like having more gifts that God is revealing to me, but those gifts are used to help one another, not just like yourself and things like that. Okay, so the verse of today, I guess for me, is 1 Corinthians 14:12. It says, "So it is with you, since you are very eager to have spiritual gifts and manifestations of the Spirit." So manifestations of the Spirit, like the works being shown, you know. So we can, as people, like be, you know, prideful in the area of the gifts by, you know, wanting to be shown ourselves, but there's no way really that we can show ourselves when the Spirit is working through us, because it is it's a showing, like manifestation. Think of it as like showing. It's a showing or a revealing of the Holy Spirit. Like I was thinking, like, you know, in school when they would do like show and tell, like you would pick something that you want to show and tell about, you would bring it to school, it would be like a toy. Necessarily it wouldn't be you that's being showed off and all those things. So yeah, there's no reason like to be anxious or like, because it's not necessarily you they're looking at. They're actually interested in like what you're showing them and what you're giving them. And so we should be, you know, showing and giving others the Holy Spirit, like whatever the Holy Spirit is pressing on your heart to like give, or like, you know, be joyful. Like being joyful is like, you know, a fruit of the Spirit. That's a way to show the Holy Spirit. Like don't be, you know, afraid to be joyful around those who seemingly are you know, either angry with you or, you know, unforgiving in any of those ways. Don't be fearful to, you know, not be joyful. So that's like a gift, I think. Yeah. And then it says like strive to excel in ways that will build up the church spiritually. So to excel means like to grow. It's like to grow. Like when you're growing, like for example, one year, this is an example, this is not true. Like one year I'm starting a bakery business, okay? And in that year, I only know how to make like cake and say for like chocolate cake, because I don't know how to make vanilla cake. Chocolate cake, I only know how to make chocolate cake. And in that year, you know, someone is also desiring like like to learn how to do that or the recipe, and it's like a healthy type of cake instead of like all that sugar. And someone's favorite cake is chocolate, and by like coincidence, like they're able to enjoy like their birthday because like they like chocolate cake and they want to eat healthy instead of like a bunch of sugar, if that makes sense. like I knew how to, God gave me the ability to make the chocolate cake for that person's birthday, because, you know, I know some people don't like cake really, or cupcakes, but I like cake. And like I feel like I don't want to eat like a lot of sugary stuff. It's just like my preference because it's so sweet, or it tastes good, but it's not good for your body, like if it's eaten to an excessive amount. But like those things, like that's an example of how like God gives you a gift that you can give it to someone else, like, you know, and share it. It's like just building them up. Like if someone's trying to, you know, abstain from sugary foods, like within that year, like, oh, I knew how to bake because of that. And then yeah, like if I feel like, oh, I'm being excited about, like if anyone, or, you know, feels excited about growing, we should also like rejoice and take, you know, joy in one another, not just ourselves, if that makes sense. Like not ourselves, like not taking joy only in yourself for like growing, things like that. And that's all of that's the verse I just wanted to share, because I felt like it matched with the other video. Like it went with like, oh, like we are called by God also, not for ourselves, but for those who are, you know, needing to be saved or out of God's love. So yeah, bye.